Okay, so now that I have built my robot using Polygon primitives, I'm going to go ahead and begin to label them. So again, I can see my model in my perspective camera, which I'm rotating around now. I can see my front, my right, the back of it, underneath it, which is the bottom and the top. This is a orthographic 2D view of my front. I could see more views, but I'm just really focusing on my front and my perspective right now because it's just easy for me. I have my outliner window right here, and I'm going to get ready to label all my objects. So you see that as I click on an object on my stage, I see in my outliner that same object selected. And so that allows me to then label these. So these are polygon primitives, as I've said, and I want to label them a good labeling format so that whether I'm working on this model for animation or for texturing, for lighting, for anything, or someone else's, they can easily find it. They can easily find what I've made. They can easily understand my naming and understand what everything is. That's a very important thing to do. You'll find in the industry, in industries, period, but creative industries, period, but particularly if you're using um, animation, you want to make sure that you are using the naming conventions um, oops, make sure I get this correct. So yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm doing this right because as I'm talking, I want to make sure I'm hitting everything correctly. But these are the cores here. Those spheres that we see, sphere 2, sphere 3, sphere 4. Keep in also mind, when you see that P in front of the word sphere, that P is for polygon. So it's just this reminder when you see these icons, this icon, that's for polygon. That mesh that you're seeing sort of in a quad, that's going to be very important because the way that you're modeling with these quads is the way is a correct way of modeling. And so it's a nice icon and symbol to remind you that this is a polygon object, but in particularly also that's so far as modeling, you want to keep it modeled in that way. So, and again, I'm clicking and I'm seeing, so I see these three. So, P sphere 2, P sphere 3, P sphere 4. Um, see how that moves to the shoulder. The next one, P sphere 5, moves to the shoulder. So I know this 2, 3, and 4 are all staying at the core or that center that I created those duplicates of the sphere 4. So I'm going to label them core because that's going to be the main core. And remember, when I do a joint, I'm going to put the word joint um, on here to remind me. And this I will call lower core joint. Notice that I don't do spaces. If I do a space, I do an underscore, upper core joint, and you want to stay consistent. So keep in mind, even when you're working on this, it may surprise you that you will work with other people on this because you might think, oh, this is just a simple one. It shouldn't matter. I don't need to label it correctly, but you really do, especially if you want someone else to look at this and try to understand if you've made a mistake or if you've done something incorrect. It's very hard to look at something that is labeled that's not labeled correctly and then try to figure out what you did wrong. So you want to start by making sure that you're following the proper way of doing things so that when you ask for help, it's a very easy way to then go through a process of elimination to find out what you did wrong. But if these aren't labeled correctly, then we have to start from scratch of labeling your stuff correctly, organizing your things correctly before I can even see, what you did, why something that you did isn't working. So if they're mislabeled, it causes a problem. So, and it's just a good professional practice to stay in. So I have, you can see I have the head, which I know is not going to be a joint. Remember, the joints are going to be spheres. So that's a big telltale sign that things are going to be joints versus spheres, versus flesh, I'll say. So the head is made from a cube. The chest is made from a cube. The pelvis is made from a cube. I know these will not be joints, so I don't put the word joint there, but the neck is a sphere. And I know that my joints are going to be spheres. So now that when I see that, I know that I should be labeling. If it's a sphere, I probably should make sure I put the word joint there. Okay. So I can see here, P sphere 5, which is my shoulder. Now, it's when you do the left and right, you want to do the left and right of the object, not of you and where you're sitting, but the object, because this object is going to twist and turn. So what you see as your left, for example, is not going to stay your left once this robot starts to turn. So it's actually the robot's, because the robot is facing us in this, so it's actually the robot's right side, okay? And so I put RT, shoulder, and then I put joint, okay? So I know it's a joint when I look at it, okay? It definitely will help a person, whether it's just you or somebody else, know immediately what it is and what they need to do. Now, there are some shortcuts to labeling that I'm not going over on this. Maya is a robust piece of software. So I'm not going to show you every little thing that Maya does in this short period of time because one, it would be impossible, and two, you wouldn't retain it. If I spent an hour just going, there are 5 different ways to do labeling, you only need to know one to do it. So here I am. So I'm showing you the first way to do it that I think is best. So here is my right upper arm. I'm sure you can find different terms that you would like to use. I recommend starting with this. Again, you want to find something simple, clean, clear, so that it's easy, that if anybody gets this, comes up to this, they know exactly what it is. And if you're working with me, then please make sure that you're labeling it this way, okay? Then we get to the elbow joint. So this is again the right side. And I know it's a sphere. And so of course I'm going to call it a joint because that's what it is. And then I have the left elbow joint. And then I have the right lower arm. Okay, joint. I'm sorry, that's not a joint. I don't know why. I guess I got myself joint happy. That's not a joint. So we see that that was based off of a cube originally, so we know that's not a joint. LT, left lower arm. And then when we go to the right wrist, we know that that is a joint. Okay. And we know that the left wrist is a joint as well, of course. And then we see cube, right? And we know that that's going to be the right hand. And it's a cube, so we know it's not a joint. And then we have the left hand. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Left. See how Maya already did the one there because it saw that I was doing a duplicate name. So I'm scrolling and I'm at the hips now. So I'm at the left hip. And of course, it's a sphere, and I'm going to call it a joint. And then I'm at the right hip, joint. Okay. And then I'm at the right thigh. And that is the right knee joint. That is the left knee joint. That is the left thigh. That is the right lower leg. This is the left lower leg. This is the right ankle joint. This is the left ankle joint. Okay. And then here is the right foot. And here is the left foot. Okay, so now I have labeled everything. So I'm gonna just scroll so that you can see it again. You can also take a screenshot. So you can see I have my head, I have my neck joint, I have my chest, I have my pelvis, and then I have those three cores. The main core joint is just called core joint, the lower core joint, the upper core joint, and then I go into those shoulders, the left shoulder joint, the right shoulder joint rather, and the left shoulder joint. Then I have the upper arm. Remember, if you don't see joint, I'm just considering it flesh. It's coming from a cube versus a sphere. So it's a really nice way for you to remember. But if you put that joint there, you know immediately. Okay. And definitely if you're working one-on-one with me, or working in one of my classes, I definitely expect you to put that joint there and to label things correctly. So that's why I'm taking time to just hold the recording, hold the camera on the example of the text of the labeling so that you can even screenshot this for yourself and copy it so that you can mimic it on your robot. Okay, so I'll follow this video up next with the parenting of all of this. What we've done so far is we've modeled it based off of Polygon primitives, and we've labeled everything, and then we're going to go ahead and start doing the parenting. So I'll see you in the next video.